Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast.
All these three companies have been um, under our due diligence. These companies, we have been conducting the first three phases that we usually do in our due diligence process. Our due diligence process covers 7 major phases, and these companies have been already passed all these three um, previous phases of due diligence. So we make sure that all these companies and their team don't have any issues related terrorism, narco traffic, that we make sure that their funds are totally legal and transparent. We make sure that they are legal or um, incorporated where they say that they are incorporated. We also make sure that they have in place of the license, and we invite great professional experienced teams. So we understand that usually investors invest in teams, in people, and we make sure that the people that we put together in our events are definitely professionals with a lot of high of social responsibility and ethics. For us, it's very important to clear and change all these aspects of narco traffic that unfortunately in Latin America during decades we had to face, and this is the time to not only increase our profits and our margins and take great advantage of the opportunity in the cannabis space, but also to dignify our communities. We want to make sure that all the Latin America is now seen as an economic empowerment through cannabis, hopefully through the legalization of all the drugs. Hopefully, um, uh, our generations, for example, in Colombia, you know, the same cases in Mexico. Well, unfortunately, we have been, our community was forced to go through a war that we all know that was totally unsuccessful. And well, this is the first path. A few weeks ago, reading the news, I learned that Oregon decriminalized cocaine, and I think that this is a great step and moving forward to change some paradigm and change some politics that clearly didn't work and clearly affected our countries and our communities. So let's see what happened with regulation and legalization of all drugs all over the world. Well, as I said before, our due diligence process covers 7 phases. The deal generation, that is the phase that we are conducting right now, market analysis and organization, and legal due diligence, risk performance and analysis, corporate exit strategy, deal structuring, and deal closing. Some of one of the biggest advice that we give to all the accredited investors that constantly ask for our recommendations when entering the space, when entering the industry, anywhere in the Americas, we always recommend do your due diligence process 3 times harder than you usually do your due diligence process in another industry. There's a lot of risk, especially when you're looking at the Latin America. So make sure you cover all your due diligence before and understand the opportunity and understand the industry before you commit some resources. I would like to review, well, lately we have been asked by several accredited investors to give an overview of how COVID has impacted the industry, how this year is going so far. Well, um, through history, through the years, and when we study, when we analyze other moments in histories when disasters, communal disasters happens, we have learned that the consumption of psychotropics such well, cannabis in this case, coffee, liquor, and other substances usually increases People are looking for wellness. People are looking for decreased depression, anxiety, and this is the same case, COVID-19 and the cannabis industry. We have seen an increase in sales, and we are expecting to close this year with retail sales up to $15 billion, and we are expecting that for 2024, pretty much we will double the retail sales in the industry in U.S. As when we compare this year and some projections for the next 4 years, we see the cannabis industry being bigger than beer, than prescription pain medication, and other related industries, if you will. Another very interesting fact is that even if the whole industry is increasing sales, this year the industry have grown about 40% in average in all states and through these 11 months already. But we have seen that the wholesale cultivators have decreasing their profitability ratios, and why is that? Well, we believe that commoditization of cannabis is happening as a commodity. We can see that prices are establishing themselves for dry flowers, and this is a very interesting chart. We can the 5 top states of sales through this year are California, Colorado, Washington, Nevada, and Michigan. Being, of course, California, the state that where we experience bigger rate of growth. This is another interesting chart, and this shows us how is the market being divided into major products. So the flowers are still the winners. About 44% and 50% of the whole market of the cannabis in US are composed by flower sales, following by vapor pens, around 17 and 21% of the market. Edibles, about 10 to 12, pre-rolls, 8 to 10, and concentrates almost the same ratio. So this shows us that our culture is still, leading the way we consume cannabis, at least in the United States. And a quick review of the regulation in Latin America. With a population of 60 million people, we're expecting that by 2028, the industry will be worth $13 billion. Argentina has legal medicinal cannabis industry since 2013. They have lately, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, they have been regulated and legalized self-cultivation. However, the access to products is very limited, and pretty much is just aligned with some imports. The regulation is quite complex, and the framework is not really aligned with the federal and the state level, if you will. In Brazil is the country where most of the sales have been happening in cannabis. They have grown this year 27%, but mostly imports. You can import legally CBD. Is restricted, and if you're a patient, you need to follow some requirements to access the medicine. It's still legal at all in medicinal and recreational. In Chile, Well, medicinal cannabis is legal. Cultivation is still very restricted. Is pretty much limited to self-cultivation or collectives. And some important factor is that hemp is being regulated and in an agro-industrial way. This is a very different way that they regulate it when you compare with Colombia, for example, that we our regulators choose to to build the industry around pharma. I think that they will review and they are thinking about regulating hemp as agro-industrial as well here in Colombia. In Paraguay, the cannabis at the medicinal level is legal also since 2017. However, they started the regulation in 2018. Pretty much, they also only have imports so far, and no implementation has happened whatsoever. There's no license, for example, in Paraguay yet. In Mexico, well, cannabis is legal at the medicinal level since 2017. They are working on the regulation. Up to date, you can import CBD. About 2 weeks ago, the law passes, but still we are the whole industry is waiting to have a complex regulation that allows free access to license and the development of the whole industry. In Peru, medicinal cannabis is legal since 2017. There's no legal regulation. However, you can import CBD. In Ecuador, this year, Ecuador have legalized cannabis at the medicinal level. Regulation is in process. Some key factors that they have already put hemp as an agro-industrial, and they have regulated that through the Ministry of Agriculture. Imports are allowed, and no self-cultivation is allowed, unfortunately, in Ecuador. In Uruguay, cannabis is legal since 2013. All forms, the country, excuse me, the country have too far 20 licenses to grow hemp, 4 licenses to grow high THC type of cannabis, 16 licenses for research, and imports are allowed, and that's pretty much the way that they have reached their patients through imports. In the Caribbean, we have found cannabis legalized in Antigua, Barbuda, Jamaica, San Vincent, and Grenadine. However, there's some restriction regarding you need to be a resident in order to access some of the license. Aruba is in the process of regulation and legalization of cannabis, and they are hoping to don't regulate the process of license and entrepreneurship only for residents. So we are expecting Aruba to be foreign friendly. In Colombia, Colombia is one of the markets that is more mature in Latin America. In Colombia, there's 450 licenses, PDA 380 to grow, about 70 to extraction. This number is increasing every day as process culminate. This is a very interesting number. It's 3,700 small license for small cultivars are in process, and this is very interesting. This is very similar to what happened with coffee. Small cultivars means 0 to 2 hectares in Colombia. This year, during the pandemic, the government of Colombia have declared the cannabis industry as a national interest industry, and one exportation has happened up to date to Colorado, and it was about 2 million hemp seeds. This exportation was made by Avicana, a company located in the coast of Colombia. Well, we hope to see you in our next edition. Please save the date, January 29th. And also, we are conducting our symposium, our scientific symposium, digitally, of course, in January 26th. Thank you. We are going to invite Michael to get ready after some promo commercials that we have ready for you. We welcome back Michael. Hello, Michael. How are you? Michael is the CEO of CannaVerde Pharma. Michael started his career as an analyst at Luskin Chip, a hedge fund catering to high net worth families based in Toronto, Canada. Following his career at Luskin Chip, he was appointed as an investment director at Infinity Potential Management, the private family office of the founders of BlackBerry. Prior to joining CannaVerde Pharma, Michael co-founded a cannabis-focused private equity firm where he served as the CEO and investment director. Michael is a CFA charter holder and holds an honors double major degree in economics and international studies from York University. Welcome, Michael. Thank you for being here once again, and thank you for sharing this great opportunity in Colombia.
Hi, Carol. Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone. Thanks very much for your time today. I'm going to share my screen and go through a brief introduction into CannaVerde Pharma. Obviously, for the sake of the presentation, it will be about 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes on the presentation, and then we'll go through any questions that you may have. Just give me one moment here, please. Perfect. So Carol has already pointed out the fantastic opportunity present in Latin America, specifically as most of the countries on the continent have legalized medical cannabis. So we are talking about significant, Brazil, Mexico, Peru, Chile, Argentina, and Uruguay. So 640 million people, and we aim to be the leading medical cannabis company in Colombia and throughout Latin America. For now, our focus have been directly in Colombia as we build our strategy there in the country. 68 million people would qualify for some sort of medical cannabis prescription. And obviously chronic pain, depression, anxiety, epilepsy, and others would be the main conduits for, or the main reasons for that. Colombia's regulatory roadmap is a very difficult one. As Carol mentioned prior, there have been a significant amount of licenses that have been issued in the country. However, it requires a significant amount of capital and a significant amount of know-how to be able to get these licenses, specifically on the THC side, as you have to deal with the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Health, the Colombian Agricultural Institute, and others. So CannaVerde Pharma, through its wholly owned subsidiary, Green Health Colombia, has gone through all of the steps and permits to now have the ability to commercially cultivate. So specifically, we hold licenses to cultivate, extract, manufacture, domestically distribute, and export both CBD and THC medical extracts. Furthermore, we have registered 8 strains with varying CBD, THC, and CBG profiles with the Colombian Agricultural Institute, and we're in the process of licensing an additional 57 strains, more focused on the high THC content as we move into our prescription medication and formula magistral within Colombia and outside of that. We're located in Bucaramanga, which is, we believe, one of the most attractive places to not only do business, but to grow medical cannabis. The weather from January to December does not change much. It is about 27 degrees Celsius on average during the day, and about 13 to 15 degrees Celsius at night. So the climate is absolutely perfect. We have 12 hours of sunlight per day. We can get up to 6 cultivations per year. And we've built greenhouses that you can see here on this slide. So we have about 51,000 square feet of greenhouse space. We are planning to go up to 415,000 square feet. This is an idea of what the greenhouses look like, and we believe we have one of the most advanced greenhouses in the country. This is all to be done for the medical side of it. We have done studies, and we have the ability to grow outside as we increase the potential for us to supply medical cannabis. You can see the way the facility looks here. You can see the plants, you can see the flowers, and we do have CBD products ready to go. We've just actually concluded our first sale not too long ago. So that's a significant milestone for a company that's been in operation for about 3 years. And we have now achieved all of the permits and all the licenses needed to be able to now generate revenues. We believe that we have one of the top management teams in the country. We have, Carol has already alluded to my background. I was fortunate enough to serve for and work for 2 organizations that included some very, very influential Canadian businessmen. So I've had the privilege to learn from some of the best what it takes to build a company, what it takes to invest in a company, and also what it takes to take a company public. So I'm very fortunate in my background. Ivan Osma was our Chief Medical Officer. He is a graduate of both Harvard and Johns Hopkins University. He has done advisory board member work for Abbott and Novartis, and he has been involved in numerous FDA clinical trials. So Ivan is a giant in the medical profession, and one of the giants in the medical profession, and he is our Chief Medical Officer. Eduardo Mayorga is the co-founder of the company that we purchased called Green Health Colombia. So we purchased in 2018 all of the outstanding shares of Green Health Colombia, which is located in Bucaramanga, and that is the company that holds all the licenses in country. So Eduardo founded the company. He is an expert when it comes to project management and HR, and he's worked for the Bogota Free Trade Zone, El Dorado Airport, and BP Oil and Gas. Paul Robertson is our CFO. He's been doing work in Colombia over the last 10 years, mostly in the mining sector. He has significant experience when it comes to operating in both Canada and where we are headquartered, and Colombia, where our operations are. Dr. Peter Chen is our Chief Science Officer. He finished first overall in his program. He's an expert when it comes to product formulation, extraction, and product development. So Peter's now working on the various products that we're bringing to market, both on the medical side and both on the topical and CBD side. And Shane Willen Stubbs is our rock star when it comes to cultivation. He was in the top 4% of all Canadian growers a few years ago. His yields are incredible. His plants are phenomenal, and he is in Colombia. He was in Colombia. We had to bring him to Canada due to COVID. But over the last 2 years, he has mentored a significant amount of Colombian master growers, which are doing just a terrific job on our operations right now. Our advisory board, we have 3 rock stars. Carlos Ulloa, which is the former team physician for the Colombian national soccer team. So he's done that over the last 10 years. Also the Olympic team, the Tennis Federation, and the Copa America team. So Carlos is advising us on bringing products to market, both from a technical standpoint when it comes to how these products will be able to work for sports injuries and also for recreational injuries. Obviously, a lot of people play recreational sports, and we want to bring in a line of products that will be able to deal with muscle injuries, to deal with joint injuries, and to deal with an overall wellness of the human body. Javier Patino used to be the general manager of Yambal, one of the bigger companies in Colombia. He was the gentleman involved in the division that brought Quaker oats to Latin America, not only in Colombia but in other jurisdictions. He's done 150 product launches throughout the country and throughout Latin America, and he is a graduate. He's the graduate of Wharton Business School. And Dr. Luis Villegas is a pain specialist, so he specializes in acute and chronic pain, and he's assisting us with bringing forth medication on the prescription side and the incorporation of THC-based medicine into our strategy. This is a recent development. We have signed a clinical research partnership with the Foscal Hospital. So Foscal is one of the largest tertiary care centers in Colombia. They have about 2 million square feet of hospital space. It rivals some of the hospitals in Canada and the United States. They have 410 hospital beds, 350 medical specialists, and 300 medical consultants. So they are a giant when it comes to the space. So the goal is, as we proceed forward, to bring forth medical-based cannabis prescription medication to patients within Santander and then branching out within Colombia and the greater Latin America. We have developed a medical cannabis cluster in Santander, which is the department that we're located in. Santander is the leader in Colombia when it comes to healthcare. So Colombians spend about $22 billion on healthcare. Those are 2017 numbers. They have about 5.6 million patients. So Santander is at the leader of the healthcare industry. The co-development and sales agreement is between three companies: Green Health Colombia, our fully owned subsidiary, Saludar, which is a provider of health services, and Medical Precision Care, which is an INVIMA registered master pharmacy. The goal here is to write prescriptions, have Medical Precision Care fulfill those prescriptions on the formulation side, and then deliver those prescriptions to patients. The goal within the next 2 years is to achieve anywhere between 10,000 to 20,000 medical patients as we work through the greater adoption of medical cannabis-based prescription medication. So that is the goal in the country, and obviously with Saludar, we've lined up a lot of doctors that would be willing to write prescriptions for us now, and of course the Foscal group as we bring forth medication into Colombia. JGB is a large consumer packaged goods company. They have more than 1,000 employees in Cali. We have signed a co-development agreement to incorporate CBD into their existing product lines, but also develop new product lines that contain CBD. Obviously, JGB is a giant. They have manufacture, they have distribution within the country, something that CannaVerde does not have. And with this partnership, we hope to bring forth medical products to the Colombia and also to Latin America. And obviously, JGB was voted one of the best brands in the country over the last few years. So a fantastic partnership for us. Promi is another consumer package company. We are doing the same thing that we're doing with JGB, and we're bringing forth products on a line. So we'll start with a line of products that would actually be delivered into the Faranda hotels. So the Faranda Group, which is a hotel group with properties in Spain, Colombia, Panama, Mexico, Dominican Republic, and Venezuela. So we are starting with toiletries in their hotel rooms. We're focusing on two hotels, La Factoria and Hotel Bantu. Those are in Cartagena. Obviously, COVID has had a terrible impact, not only from a health perspective, but also for the tourism industry in Colombia and elsewhere. So we are committed to this project. However, we have some uncertainty as to the delivery of this product into. So we have the products already; they've been tested. We've done all of the studies required for us to be able to deliver this. The problem obviously has been the adoption of these products into the hotel rooms, and obviously the tourism industry that has been decimated by this coronavirus. We also have a sales agreement for to deliver $2.5 million throughout 2021. That's about 3.25 million Canadian dollars. We have other agreements in place to deliver CBD and THC-based medication, and we're working through that. Obviously, COVID has had an impact on our facilities. We've been very, very careful, and we take social responsibility to heart. Obviously, we want to have our employees as safe as possible, and we want to make sure that they're sequestered, that they have all the PPE available for them to work. At the high end of our employee count, we had 86 employees on our facility. Obviously, that number has had to decrease in terms of any number of employees on the facility at the same time due to the COVID restrictions. Our capital structure is very clean. We have done 2 capital raises to date, one in late 2018, early 2019. That was for $2.135 million at a valuation of 30 cents. And the last capital raise we did was for just over $3 million in a debenture. That was done in July and August of 2019. So we raised about $5.2 million to date. We've been very, very careful, and I've been taught this by 2 of the greatest Canadian businessmen of all time. We've been very, very careful as to how we spend money, where our capital is allocated, and how we proceed in terms of building the facilities. As you can see, we have built facilities. We have achieved all of the permits and the licensing in place, and we have done anything on a budget that's much less than most of our competitors. So, of course, the competitors that we do have, public information on. Some have raised over $100 million. Some have raised in the 40 to 50 million. We have raised a significantly less amount of that, but we have achieved results that can compare to some of our competitors and some of our in Colombia. So $7.27 million valuation of the company. So we believe that this is fairly valued given the economic conditions at this time. So we're seeking 5 million and a maximum of 10. We're not willing to go past 10 given the current structure of the company and the ownership. So it's a 2-year debenture. It yields 10%. It is converted into equity of 60 cents, either IP or maturity. And all of that capital is going to be used for Colombia. So to continue to build out the facilities as we focus on the THC side of it and the medical strain, obviously with doctors and clinics, we want to be able to put some capital towards medical precision care for us to be able to scale up that operation and have as many prescriptions as possible as we move out the stable of doctors and the increase in patients, the JGB and PROMI and the Faranda hotels, as well as operating expenses. So that's a quick, no breath overview of the company, and I look forward to questions.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for sharing the opportunity at CannaVerde Pharma. We invite now our chairs. So welcome, John. How are you, John?
I'm doing well. And Carol, by the way, that was an excellent presentation overview of the different countries in Latin America, giving us a perspective on what their legal regimes are. Deeply appreciated, by the way.
Thank you.
I want to acknowledge your remark too about Colorado. I've always felt that addiction, drug abuse is a health issue, a mental health issue, not a criminal matter. So hopefully we'll get smarter about this. Anyways, Michael, good presentation. You're a pro. We both graduated from the same university. I did my MBA at York. So congratulations for choosing a great place.
Thank you, sir.
What I'm going to start with, I just want to know a little bit more about your property. I want to know about the 7 licensed hectares. I want to know about the land. I want to know basically what the altitude is. Just tell me a little bit more about that, please, about your facilities. Because the one problem is when you look at a topographical map of Colombia, as you well know, right, it could be kind of challenging. It doesn't really give you a good view, a good understanding. And without walking the land, it's hard to say what it's like. So if you don't mind just touching upon that briefly.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 7 flat hectares. So we're located in Mesa de los Santos, which is about 40 minutes just outside of Bucaramanga. So we have 7 flat hectares of land with the option to go up to 100 hectares in the area. So it's one of the safest areas in the country. We've had fantastic relations with the mayor, with the church, with the police, which is 4 kilometers away. So the whole facility has been leveled properly to ensure that we have the ability to build a greenhouse. We have a fence around the property that's electrified because that's what the Ministry of Justice has allowed us. 2 entrances, one at the front, one at the back. The land is fertile, but we have elected to grow in pots, and now we're making the change to going in the greenhouse, but having soil on the floor. The greenhouses are state of the art when it comes to the type of greenhouse that we need. Obviously, the cost of the greenhouse is much less than we would do in Canada because we only have one climate. We have irrigation system. We have a water plant that takes in the water and removes any of the stuff that we don't want in the water, and then it goes into the plants. We have the extraction facility is almost complete. We have a man-made aquifer. We have drilling permit because we sit on top of an aquifer. We have 24-hour security on the premise. It is 1,700 meters above sea level.
Okay.
So good. It's a fantastic place. So Shane has been growing cannabis on the medical side for a long time. So he went to Colombia, and on his 3rd cultivation, he called me and he said, "Mike, I have never grown this cannabis, this type of cannabis, this potent, this beautiful in all of my time in the industry." So it is a fantastic area to grow in. It's a fantastic jurisdiction. The mayor has been fantastic. The police comes in once a week, not to see anything outside of the fact that they want to see how everything's progressing and they want to smell the plants. So we have great relationship with that. We have a local school that we've built. So we've talked to the people around the area, and we said, look, we have construction workers, we have management team, we have people that can assist with various projects. So just to give you an example, the local school, which is not too far from us, they needed a ramp built for a student that required wheelchair access. So obviously we have construction workers, so we got on that right away, so we built a ramp. We've done all kinds of things like that to ensure that we are a part of the community, and we are. But it's perfect land, straight, flat, perfect growing conditions, and it's as soon as we get up to the 7 hectares, we think we have been very successful because that yields a significant amount of cannabis.
Okay, Carol, if I may, one more question for Michael. What's your, and this is challenging because it's sometimes hard to come up with a single number, but what would you say is your projected cost per gram for producing, say, your sativas?
So
Or I should say your narrow leaves rather, but go ahead, please.
We don't have, so we can't achieve the economies of scale that other companies that have a much bigger footprint than us.
Right.
So we are growing CBD, but after a while, it'd be much cheaper for us to purchase CBD of high quality rather than grow it. But on the THC side, we are, because of the cost and because of the prices, and also because it's an API, so it's going to be an active pharmaceutical ingredient. So CannaVerde will take an active role in growing that cannabis. Yes. So we anticipate, so given the higher price and everything else, we can go to as low as 6 to 7 cents a gram.
That's actually pretty good. You know, Farmers Yellow recently did a financing. You're no doubt aware. I participated in it, and they're claiming 5 cents. So I mean, geez, you know, when you're pitching pennies, I don't think it's going to make much difference. Quality is going to matter. So that's great. I have more questions, but I yield to other members, other sharks who may have questions for you.
We can take this offline. Thank you, John.
Absolutely.
I'll jump in if nobody else has a question yet. Want to know more about your capital structure. I apologize about the construction. There's a drunk driver who drove into an attorney's office. Unfortunately, it wasn't a DUI attorney, but I digress. So sorry about that. Real quick though, Michael, your capital structure, why did you choose warrants during a cap raise? Curious about the strategy or why you decided to issue warrants.
So the warrants were only in relation to paying fees on the capital raise that we did for the $3 million. So what we did is we had an agreement in place with the investment bank that assisted us with that. And the payment was 8% in cash and 8% in broker warrants. And those are the only warrants that are available or they are part of the capital structure. Outside of that, there are no warrants. So what we did is we did a straight equity financing at 30 cents. The initial one and the second raise, we did it at the venture that is still available today in the same form. But that's the only reason why we have the warrants. They're broker warrants.
Okay, to pay for the fees, I get it. And then your cap table, how many participants are there? Cap tables can get kind of messy. So how many do you have so far?
We have just over 130 shareholders. So no one holds more than 10% of the company. So we've been very careful about that. Our biggest investors are 2 institutional funds, one out of Europe and one out of Canada, but they hold less than 10%. So we have a wide distribution of shareholding. That was done on purpose just to ensure that one person doesn't decide to sell out and then, of course, have a negative impact on our capital structure. So that is at about 130 shareholders to date.
And last question, Carol, unless I can keep going. Want to know more about the LOI. So post-pandemic, I would think that that's going to be an issue with cancellations. Wondering when those LOIs were signed and what your take is on the percentage of those completing given the pandemic and uncertainty.
So I want to say that these are not LOIs, but these are definitive agreements. The definitive agreement has been signed with JGB. Obviously, that was pre-COVID. JGB, we've spoken recently, they're still ready to go in terms of delivering those products to the market. They realize that part of the solution is medical cannabis plays an active role. CBD obviously plays an active role. So that contract is safe. And the uncertainty is, when do we deliver the products? When can we scale up manufacturing? And how can we do certain things? The PROMI agreement is also a definitive agreement. The sale of flower is also a definitive agreement. And the agreements with Saludar, the agreements with Foscal, and the agreement with Medical Precision Care are all definitive in nature. We keep track of all of our agreements, and we have conversations to ensure that everything is on board. The only one that I'm certain about is the Foranda hotels. And obviously they are the ones that have suffered the most. And we're looking to see how we go forward on that. The problem has been is that, so we've spoken to a lot of people, the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines that are coming out, they're not stopping transmission. They're only helping with the symptoms. So if that is the case, then how do we achieve herd immunity, and what happens in terms of people continuously passing the virus onto themselves? So that's the one we're uncertain about. Everyone else that we've talked to recently, and everything is on board in terms of delivering on this, is just being pushed forward by some time.
Thank you, Josh, and thank you, John, for your question. Samuel, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm here. Michael, first of all, I'd like to just congratulate you on your executive team and advisory team in particular, but also about Saludar, medical precision care as well. I know that JGB is a giant, so well done, as well as with Promi.
Thank you.
It's actually very impressive. Well done. I wanted to ask, though, with regards to it sounds like a lot of these offtakes have to do with the non-psychoactive marketplace, whereas I think I understood you saying that it sounds like you're focusing on psychoactive cultivars for your pruebas de evaluación agronómica. And so help me to understand that lack of congruence between the market and strategics that you're focusing on currently, and it sounds like a longer-term cultivar and IP focus on the psychoactive marketplace. How do those two things fit together?
Great question. So the 8 registered cultivars that we have, 5 of those are high CBD, and there's one where we're talking about it's about 15% CBD. And as we get higher, so we have other ones in the 57 strains that are going through the registration. So every single strain, so we've had 65 strains in total. Every single one has been harvested, every single one has been extracted, and every single one has been completed when it comes to the evaluation side of it. What now we're doing is that the 8 cultivars that have gone through and have been registered by ICA, those have already, so we can now start commercial production. 3 THC high, 5 CBD high. So we can sell CBD based, and it's 99.9%. So we can sell CBD based into all of these, into Faranda, into JGB, into Promi, into all of those. So that's covered as well. And now the remaining cultivars, now we're focusing on the Formula Magistral and the prescription medication. So we have THC cultivars ready to go in terms of that. And we have the 57 additional ones that we're going through the documentation stage. I'm sure you know, just for the 8 cultivars, it was 120 pages of data and documentation. So you can imagine what that document looks like for an additional 57. So that's where we are as well. So, and the reason we have done these partnerships is that JGB is manufacturing their distribution and doing all of these stuff. All we have to do in that is co-develop, so assist them with the products with Peter Chen and Ivan Osma, but at the same time, we can just deliver the CBD-based extracts. And then they'll be able to take that and then run with that. Same thing with Promi, same thing with the toiletries at Faranda Hotel. What we're intimately involved with now is the Foscal Group, Saludar, and Medical Precision Care. We're taking an active role in the delivery of THC-based medication as we look through the THC-based prescription medication, and then we're taking an active role in that. And I think that is one of the revenue streams that the company is most focused on. So we have 3 revenue streams in total. One on the topicals and the CBD and with Carlos Ulloa and with JGB and all others. The other one's flower cells and extract cells. And the other one is the medical side of it and the prescription medication side.
Okay, and I understand that you have a giant from Canada probably bringing strains, trying to stabilize them and register them. Our company has 250 strains registered. We just went through PEAS as well on the North Coast as well as in Cundinamarca. But really what it comes down to, especially with THC, is the stabilization of these cultivars. And so who is your Colombian agronomist, your fitomejorador, or your breeding and selection specialist that actually has experience here in equatorial biological assets, not just the temperate north, but real experience with botrytis, all of the pathologies that we have, Clothoptera, et cetera, that you only have to deal with here in Colombia specifically. So who is your Colombian agronomist or fitomejorador?
We have 2, so Andres and Nicolas. So obviously, so what we have done is we have married Shane's scientific and growing history. So he's been growing for a significant amount of time. The science behind it, the nutrients, the soil formulation, and all of those, he's a genius when it comes to that. But we can't take something that was grown in a greenhouse in climatic conditions in Canada during winter with fake light and fake all of those things. We can't do that and bring that to Colombia. Obviously, we needed someone to be able to talk about the growing conditions and the sun. The sun is different. The sun doesn't go the same way as you get closer to the equator. The moon and a variety of other conditions. And obviously avocados, for example, some of the bananas. So they have certain fungi that can, and obviously we've had that where the avocados have fungi that would be detrimental to the cannabis plants. So we have two magnificent agronomers here, one of which is studying for PhD, which CannaVerde is happy to put him through those studies. And he is an expert when it comes to funguses, insects, and soil. So that's number one. And then we have another who's been growing for some time, and he is excellent when it comes to how the plant grows in the climatic conditions close to the equator. So we've married the two.
And so you're bringing these psychoactive cultivars to equatorial stabilization. But could you speak a little bit towards the THC marketplace that you're actually focusing on, and where you plan to take that over the next couple of years?
Yeah, so basically, so all of the strains are in the country. So some of the strains were available in Colombia that we spent a great deal of time trying to find it. And then the other ones were basically brought in from California, brought in from Spain, brought in from Afghanistan, brought in from places where the growing is, the climatic conditions are similar to Colombia. Not the same, but similar. So as we begin the prescription market, is obviously the opioid crisis has been prevalent within most countries. So we are basically focusing on doctor prescription medication, same thing with Germany. So Germany is a great example of what they've done in terms of the medical market and how they've evolved that and to the prescription medication. So that's our goal there, is basically to bring forth prescription medication of the highest quality. So turning our cannabis into API, active pharmaceutical ingredients. So we've talked to a bunch of healthcare companies, some from the US, some from Canada, some from Colombia, to be able to take that product and then have that product registered and prescribed to patients as we move forward on the prescription medication side.
Very interesting. So you're looking at the psychoactive marketplace in terms of the potentiation between these molecules for pharmaceutical products, and you're anticipating that marketplace opens up, frankly, fast enough, because we're looking at a GMP extraction facility that you guys are raising capital for. We know how long that takes to build. We know how long or how much that's going to cost, and we don't quite yet have a mature psychoactive marketplace. So I'm yet to hear of a company that's developing, potentiated molecular pharmaceutical products based on the psychoactive marketplace. It's actually pretty interesting for me to hear.
No, of course, and that's just, so again, so obviously the uncertainty in the Colombian market and elsewhere as well, we have different arrows going into different directions. So to be able to say, well, this is a long-term project that we can work on that we think will be very sustainable and profitable. This is another project that we're going here. As the Colombian market develops further, and as Brazil opens up more, and as Mexico brings in the legislation, everything else. So that's just one of the things that we're focusing on. And then obviously we're focused on, so you can write Formula Magistral today. So you can have doctors prescribing medication, and medical precision care can go ahead and fulfill those medications. So we can do that today, and we know there's a significant market available to us from that. As we move into more on the technical side of the THC, but that's obviously a 2 to 5 year time frame, in our opinion. But we can deliver medical-based prescriptions today, and that's the company's main focus.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sam. Karen, welcome. Do you have any questions for Michael?
Hi, Carol. Yes. Hi, Michael. First, super presentation. It was super interesting. And my question is about something that I didn't see here, but maybe you have on your mind or you are working on it. And I want to know of what sustainability and impact programs do CannaVerde have, and how do they align with the UN Sustainable Development Goals or with the ESG framework?
Excellent question. Thank you very much for that. So the first 5 UN development goals deal with no poverty, zero hunger, quality education, and health development. So what we have done is we have basically I want to start with the minimum wage. The minimum wage in Colombia is about $300 US. So we have decided that is just a yardstick. So every single one of our employees starts with a 40% on top of that. That basically generates and allows our employees to be able to not live at the minimum wage, but to be able to live 40% higher, and that's just the start. Furthermore, all of our employees are on formal contracts, which entails that they have government-run health programs that CannaVerde and Green Health Colombia pay for. So the healthcare of our employees is very important. Gender equality. So we try to get to 50% men, 50% women for most of the time. Obviously, there was a period in our life where we had a lot of construction on the property. So the ratio was skewed, as constructions are mainly men jobs. But now it's 53% men and 47% women. Our CFO in Colombia is a woman. Our head of licensing and making sure that all licenses in place is a woman, Angie Rincon. Andrea Flores is our CFO. So we have a lot of women in charge of various things. And for example, our health and safety specialist on the manager on the property, Jessica. So we want to get to 50-50 as most of the time. So that's number one. We have a zero waste on our property. So basically, we've talked to farmers in the area to see where can we take the soil after we have used it for the cannabis. We talked about others in where can we take the stems and the cannabis that we have to discard, the cannabis plant, where can we take that and can that be feed for animals? So that's also something that we have. So, and the most important one is water. Water permits are very difficult to obtain in Colombia, as you know. So we have our water permits and everything's done, but we have done a study of the last 10 years of waterfall in Mesa de los Santos. So we have said that on any given year, on average, from 50 to 60% of our water use can come from rain. So all of our greenhouses have been built on a 3-degree slope. So we have put pipes on top of the greenhouse. So the water falls on top of the greenhouse, it goes through a piping system, it goes into an aquifer that we made, then it goes through the water plant, and then it goes into our plants. So we are using 30 to 40% less water from the aquifer. Sorry, 50 to 60% less water from the aquifer, which is a fantastic opportunity as well there. And so we are a global citizen, obviously we're headquartered in Canada, but we're very, very comfortable with our strategy to ensure that Colombians win. So out of all of our employees, so we had 86 employees in May of 2019, only 4 of those employees were foreign. And of those 86 employees, 43% were rural from Mesa de los Santos, 46% were from Santander, the rest from Colombia, and only 4 employees were from Canada. So that is part of the progress that we're doing. And obviously the sustainable goals of the UN is something that we strive for. Our employees have transportation to and from the facility. Our employees have daily lunches that we provide for them. We've had kids come in and we've set up a small childcare just for us to be able to handle that as we move forward. There's just a few of the things that we've done.
Thank you so much, Karen, and thank you so much, Michael, Josh, Samuel, and John for your questions and your excellent presentation. Michael, if you want to reach Michael, feel free to reach us, and also feel free to reach him directly at Michael at CannaVerdePharma.com. Feel free to ask for their information. We have their updated pitch deck and their financial information if you are interested in following up. We will definitely following up with all the network. Welcome, Daniel. It's such a pleasure to have Daniel here. I have the honor to meet Daniel about almost like 7 years ago. Daniel is one of those very, very few women entrepreneurs in the cannabis space. She's located in Colorado. She's a pioneer. She's a leader. And I invited Daniel today because we need to update us regarding marketing in the digital space. Daniel is a creative art director, marketing specialist, web designer, communicator, and public relations guru in digital, print, and audiovisual areas with more than 12 years of experience and almost a decade of experience in cannabis already. CannaLatino is one of those very few channels that our Latino community have in United States to promote what we do in cannabis. And as I said before, well, Daniel, have the opportunity to increase your sales in about 50% by reaching the Latino audience that is learning about the benefits and wellness from the cannabis plant. So welcome, Daniel. Thank you so much for joining us today, and it's such a pleasure to have you here, my friend. Bienvenida, amiga.
Thank you for having me. I'm from Venezuela, but we're going to do this in English because everybody's speaking Spanish. So I wanted to give something to you guys also. My name is Daniela Espinel, and for me, it's a real pleasure to be here, especially because we've been friends, Carol and I, for longer than I can remember. That, you know, it's the things that happen in the cannabis industry. We met, we smoked together, and we're a friend with weed is a friend indeed. And so I think this industry had a lot of that, you know, like we've been friends before we started this industry here in the United States started thanks to all the people that they were smoking together, to all the people that keep the knowledge of cannabis as a medicine. So that is amazing. So thank you to everybody that is here. I'm going to share a presentation for a little bit. And I'm also going to talk to you because I think is important. But let me tell you a little bit of what I do. I'm the founder of CannaLatino. CannaLatino is, I created CannaLatino in 2014 when I moved to Colorado. And I moved to Colorado, the reason was because of my son and my health issues as well. So I'm not just a part of the industry, I'm also a patient. And for me, the message was really clear. I was Latina, I was looking for education in Spanish. I was looking to tell my people in Spanish what was happening, and I have nothing, zero. By that time, there was no education in Spanish or communication in Spanish. So CannaLatino in 2014, we made back CannaLatino, and CannaLatino is the first education and media channel of the United States in Spanish for the Latino community specifically for cannabis. And this is huge because cannabis is against the Latinos. We all know why this prohibition brings to all our community. Well, not really, because we still have illegal cannabis in Latin America. And if we knew what really happened and how really this is going, you know, we're never gonna, you know, like we never did it if we knew what we were doing. So you have here in Spanish and English, CannaLatino, it's a community devoted to promote the education about cannabis to all Latin America and the world on the premise of investigate, educate yourself, and act. If you are not knowing what you're gonna say, please don't say it. Because especially in cannabis, it's probably gonna be a lie. So we are helping the community. We are being educated with different ways. We have a magazine. I'm also write a book. I'm going to show you in a few seconds. And we're also been helping different companies, different channels on the education. We do education assistance for patients. We do content and mass media creation for different media. We do documentaries, films, cannabis conference, public relation, anything that you need from here to there and from there to here, because you probably don't have language and you want to get into the Latino market. We can fix that. We also have a cannabis education business coaching plan because, and this is something that we're going to talk about a little bit more, because about marketing. A lot of people, we're masters into these marketing strategies, especially organically, like Miss Juanita from Cáñamo was telling us. It's really hard to find the right people. It's really hard to educate your community. So we're here to do that. So we do different, like I say, we do different things for different companies. Oops, sorry, let me just go to the next one. Okay, and these are some of the media channels they were being working. They will be working. We have worked with, sorry, and these channels we're been providing education, we're providing content, we're providing different type of media for them. So I wanted to, for example, in the case of Telemundo, because again, Juanita was telling about how hard it is to get into the regular media. None of the products can get into regular media. We're out of everything. We cannot say the word marijuana or cannabis or anything because people freak out. So what we do is we generate pieces for other media. So in the case of Telemundo, we generate the first piece that won an Emmy for the Latino market in cannabis. So we are very proud of what we do. We also have the first magazine in Spanish about cannabis and science and medical issue. We have different type of media, of course, as well online. And in the magazine, for example, we put like all the legalizations and all the links with QR codes. We try to educate the community as much as possible, and also as well the companies. And I'm also a writer of this amazing book that is the first recipe book written in Spanish for a Latina. Because before me, no one had the guts to say, I wanted to cook with cannabis. I want to make an arepa with cannabis. So, well, you will have the recipe here of the arepa. And I wanted to tell you a little bit of what I do, but I wanted to give you something because I think this whole event is about to give back, and what we do as well is to give back to the community. So I wanted to talk to you about how really marketing can change our whole industry and can change our whole business. And I've been seeing in all these years that I've been working with companies nonstop that a lot of companies have beautiful and amazing business plans, but they don't include marketing into that percentage of your business plan. Everyone forget, who are you gonna sell the product to? You need to know your market. And especially in the Latino market, it's a market that have no clue about cannabis. Zero. We have fear. We're gonna die. Our mothers are gonna help us if we murder someone. If we kill someone, our mom is gonna dig a ditch and no one's gonna know about it. But if the same mother caught us smoking weed, it's gonna kick us out of our home. So how are you gonna sell your CBD line, your cannabis, your bombs, your anything to anyone that is afraid? So the first things that we have to think in our business plan, and I think this is very important, is the marketing strategy and the marketing plan. You know, in the world of the marketing, you know, we always say, oh yeah, we wanted to have marketing and we have an idea, we're gonna do advertising, we're gonna do promotion, and of course we're gonna have that. Let's put, I don't know, any percentage, 2%, 5%. The reality is that if you really wanted to have an impact in the industry, you have to have between 1 and 25% of your budget designated to marketing. You see how it's not that small? And when you have your whole business plan and when you have all the money there and you get the product, if you don't have the key piece to sell it, you're done. That's it. You know, that is the worst thing that can happen, because you fight a lot, you did a lot of things, you find the right people to make your product, but you are not having the people who's going to buy it. And believe me, your aunt, your mom, your grandmother, they're going to buy CBD the first 3 times, but how much do you produce for them to buy? We need to educate our community, and we need to think about the plan that we're going to have. What is things that we can find in a marketing plan, because there's two things. There's a strategy, and with the strategy, we're going to learn, how is the business positioned? Where is the segment? Who's my target? All the route of the market, how we're going to sell. But the plan is the most important part, because that was the strategy. The plan is going to tell you how are you going to do all this stuff. And if you have a marketing plan, you can, have all the attention on your product, and you're not going to have different type of things that are going to shine around you. And there's a syndrome that is real. It's super real, and it's called the shiny object syndrome. All the entrepreneurs have that syndrome, because we wanted to do so many things, especially in the cannabis industry. There's so many possibilities. We want to have the line of the CBD. We're going to have the hotel with CBD. We're going to have the shampoo. We're going to have everything, dog food, whatever, and you start talking to entrepreneurs and they start telling you all the things that they want to do. And it's always amazing. But if you see, for example, the biggest person that are in the business, they will not do all the things that they think. They do all the things that they go for. Richard Branson's, we're never going to have a list of everything that dude is being invented or created in his mind. But he had an end. He walked the walk to do the things, and he had a plan and a strategy. That's why it's so important to have marketing strategy and plan in your business plan. Another thing that it will give you transparency, and it will give you clarity and constant. Because if you have people working for you and they don't know what to do, it's a chaos. You have to give them a route. You have to give them a way to go to everyone that is in your business plan. And marketing is the most important key, because you have to tell the people how to do the things to sell the product, to finally have the revenue. If you're someone who's asking money to get your business, then how are you gonna tell your investor, how are you gonna give back that money? The business plan, you have to be the most amazing thing there, and the best thing that you have there, and the most studied things that you have there, because that's how you're gonna tell everybody, that's how you're gonna have your money back, because we are gonna secure this sale, and we're gonna have these clients, and we're gonna have this, we got this. That's how you show other people that you have this. And there's so many things that we have to identify when we have, to make this plan. I told you already that the investment, it will depend between 1% and 25%. What are the things that we have to know about that? It's a new brand. So if it's a new brand, your market is going to be harder because no one knows you. So you need to know where are you in the market. If it's a new brand, what is your time frame for you to have the people to know you? That is also going to depend, because you're probably going to have to spend a little bit more. And of course, you're gonna, this document that I'm talking about as the business strategy, as a marketing strategy, is a living creature. Because it's gonna walk, and it's gonna breathe, and it's gonna eat while you are walking, eating, and growing as well in your company. So you're probably gonna have bigger investment in marketing right now that you're in the launching than the one that you're gonna have on you, I don't know, growing process, because people already know you, and like there you have already your clients going, buying, doing everything. You're probably gonna be, that's when you're gonna rearrange your resources. But you're gonna know your resources when you are a very strategic people. And you have to do it if you are doing business plan and you want to do a business. Definitely you have to have a great methodology. And these are kind of like the tips that I'm giving you here. Think about also what is the worth, what is your business worth? How much are you asking? If I'm asking for a $5 million business, like capital for my business, I cannot make $2,000 budget for marketing. Sorry. But a regular one will be around 7-5%, which is, like what the market is saying that most of the industries are investing right now. We're talking about we're talking about $375,000 that you have to spend on marketing if you pretend to sell or to have a company of $5 million, at least that. So these are real numbers and these are real money. And what are you going to do with that money? That is what you need to plan. That's where you need to be organized and say, okay, this is going to be for this advertising or for this media, or we're going to, of course, sponsor CannaLatino because we're always looking for sponsors. But you're going to go with Cáñamo as well. But then those prices that or those money that you're, like getting there, they have to give you as well a return. And that's how you're gonna also measure the effectivity of your campaign. And you see if it's going well with something, if it's going well with a lot of things. Remember that in digital market, we are not allowed right now to do any buying of, like we don't have Google Ads, we don't have Google Words, we don't have Instagram, promotion, Facebook, anything, nothing. Because it have to be very calm, let's say it like that, like the way that we do it. People really don't want promotion. And let me tell you something, the difference between promotion and education in the United States by the law is life sentence. So we have to be very careful of what we do as well and how do we promote. We don't promote cannabis. We educate about cannabis because we want people to buy good products and to feel better and have the best quality of life. That's what we do. And I wanted to finish. Yeah, my dog is clapping. Thank you. I wanted to finish this presentation. I wanted to share again my screen with you guys. Hold on, just a second, because I know there are so many things that we can think about when we're like doing our promotions and doing our plan. Another thing is the quality and the trends. Like I was saying, we have to be prepared for the market that we have, especially because we're not allowed to, again, buy anything extra. So I wanted to share, just to close this presentation, I wanted to share this beautiful quote from Sun Tzu, he's the master of the art of war, and he says, oops, sorry. Strategy without tactic is the slowest route of victory. Tactic without strategy is noise before it be defeat. And that is something that we need to have in mind, because we really need to have, sorry, I'm making a mess with my screen, I know. I'm trying to get it right. Okay, here we are. So this is a great quote, because it will tell you exactly why the marketing plan and the strategy, in the marketing strategy, have to be in your business plan, but also as well in everything that we do. But this will lead you to victory for sure. And this is my contact, and anything that I can help, you know what I do, you know now how passionate I am for what I do. So thank you very much for having me here. Thank you, Carol. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Daniel. No, this is great, and definitely business strategy is necessary. Marketing strategy is necessary, and talking about business administration theory is also necessary. Understanding what kind of marketing strategy you're going to use depending on the life cycle of your product, your service, or even the industry if you're asking for money as well. So there's a strategy in marketing for both, for selling, but also for fundraising. And when you're a startup, you know, business management theory says that one of the major key investments that you should be doing is marketing. So talking about this emerging industry and this startup industry in Latin America, marketing strategy is essential. Marketing strategy is needed, and it should be one of the biggest expenses in your actually in your financial statements, because you're a startup and you need to show and you need to educate your public regarding your products and your service, and also you need to educate your investors. So always remember to have both marketing strategy for selling your products or promoting your services, but also if you're fundraising, you need a marketing strategy to reach your accredited investors efficiently. And talking about marketing, I would love to introduce GoodFOR. I think when I had the opportunity to learn about GoodFOR, I thought about their marketing strategy, because I think it's remarkable. I think Jeff and his team have done a great job regarding marketing, especially in as I said before, in an emerging industry, in a startup industry in Americas, really, when we still don't have a Coca-Cola, we still don't have a Kleenex, we still don't have this type of names or these products already taking a huge share on the market. So welcome, Jeff. Welcome, GoodFOR, and tell us about your great products. And Danielle, you're just going to see their incredible marketing strategy.
I love it already. Yeah.
Right away. So welcome, and thank you, Jeff, for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
There you have it. It's just straightforward. I love it.
Okay, so you can see my screen now, correct?
Yes, I can see it.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Ullman. I'm in Colorado, Superior, Colorado, which is next door to Boulder, somewhat near Denver. And I appreciate the time you are all taking today to talk about investments that make sense and dollars. And lots of them, of course. GoodFOR is unique in many ways, and I hope you'll see that when you see this deck. Everybody knows people in pain, anyone, anywhere, anytime, everywhere. It's painful to say, but it's never ending. What does GoodFOR do? Well, we create, we manufacture, we formulate, and we sell near pharmaceutical grade quality hemp, topicals and oral tinctures that use a number of FDA approved ingredients. Now, people pay to stop their pain. They pay a lot of money to stop their pain. And this is not just in the United States or in any of the Americas, it's worldwide where they can afford it. It's 100 plus, USA market. It's a $1 trillion plus global market, but our concentration for GoodFOR is more narrow, more focused, and it's about approaching a $2.5 billion pain topical market. That's not just anything you take. So, as I might say, no pain, no gain. Now, that may sound manipulative, but we're providing a service. What's our motivation? Well, this is very personal to me because GoodFOR was started in 2016 when my wife, Cindy, was diagnosed with metastatic stage 4 breast cancer. Her prognosis, or as I say, her unkind death due date was 6 months later, about now 4 years ago. That didn't happen. She didn't die. In fact, there's no evidence of any cancer in her. But what she had was pain all over her body, throbbing pain or just stabbing pain or just a dull pain. She had neuropathy. It moved. It didn't groove. How do you get rid of it? Well, that's why my family, not just me, created a formula that has evolved multiple times since then. And we found that when people have everyday pains, they're athletic, they're recreational, they're competitive, they're doing an errand, their job is such that if they're under stress, they're an electrician, a contractor, they type a lot, their neck hurts, they're a writer, anybody, blue collar, pink collar, white collar, everybody has pain caused from their work. That's good for business. See, there's one thing that every customer or every person who's in pain has on their mind. They want to stop it now. They want to stop their pain now. But what do? Do they just snap their fingers? Do they make a prayer? GoodFOR. So the number one question among people is, who do I trust? Why do I trust them? This product says, oh, it'll cure whatever. This one says it'll treat or heal. Some of these words are common to us, but not necessarily legally involved or allowed. Everything we write and say and produce is legally allowed, because if we're going to be taking on investor dollars, which we hope many of you will do, we want to keep you safe. It's part of healthcare and what we call wealth care. People want to know what's good for me, what's good for my family. So GoodFOR, we can demonstrate immediate benefits. Here's our team. Okay, you can see it. I also have a one-page document which I can send you. And for those of you who are particularly qualified, you get a copy of this deck if you'd like. Milestones. We started the company in last year, 2019, but we did an extensive amount of product formulation and testing. In fact, every one of our products is tested independently by 2 different labs. We want to know about the oil. We want to, actually, it's 3 labs, so the oil and then all the other ingredients, as well as the final topical, the final product that gets to you. The THC amount is below 0.3. Actually, it's about approaching 0.2. It's a ridiculously tiny amount. And you can also see that we started our website only mid-year. We have about 200 ambassadors. These are social influencers. We are registering with the FDA, the USPTO, that's the patent office. And we're also about to conduct our first clinical trial. Will start in about 10 days. And this is why we can grow quickly. We have well, you can judge whether it's the best pain product or the best brand name. And I'll also give you a link today so you can request samples. There's no postage, there's no shipping, there's no handling, there's no contract, there's no taking of credit cards, there's no obligation. You request it, we send it to you. You don't like it, forget us. We're not good for each other. But if you like it, well, we'll go from there. And this is how we've earned our results. Lots of proof. We're an evidence-based company. We just don't grab sales or marketing things that we think that we know other people will respond. We didn't start our company by just selling, and then saying, oops, sorry. Well, that's nice. Let's use that. No, we did our proof first. I won't say our beta testers or our guinea pigs were our family and friends, but many were. Nobody got hurt. Not much pain. Lots of relief. People could, get pain off their mind. Lots of scientific and legal proof. And you can see this for yourself. Now, we say judge us by these unique products. We believe in 2 types of pain: physical pain, however and wherever it's caused, and emotional and psychological pain. Now, we do produce a GoodFOR Pets product, and I don't know if your animals are in pain, but it'll keep them in good wellness. And by the way, animals respond much quicker than humans to CBD. We have several products or formulations in the product line. You can see them. Good for stress, good for sleep, good for immune support. One of my favorites, stopping sugar. No, I missed good for sex. But we also have good for inflammation. Inflammation oftentimes causes pain. But some of our ingredients like menthol and camphor are too strong to put on the face. So we have a different thing. And then good for massages. Many competitive advantages. Even though we produce in small volumes so far, we have a very good, not exceptional though, but a very good price of cost of goods, which will go down substantially as volumes increased. You can read about all this, many advantages. Financial pro forma, we believe in a very extremely, exceedingly conservative pro forma. And this is based on why? Because we don't want your expectations to be too great, too good for you. We don't want any complaints. We just like kudos. So we focus in on worst case scenarios so that everybody is protected. How about our success? Well, we're so far been a direct to consumer company, but that's changing first week of February, or excuse me, first week of January. And we have many, in fact, our first video is coming out, sponsored by the runexperience.com, which is the largest group of runners, amateur runners and semi-pro in the world. We are their exclusive sponsor. Your investment, not equity, at least not yet. It's convertible promissory notes. The minimum raise is $25,000 per person or entity. It's not much. We're raising only $250,000. We actually need closer to $750 in many ways, but $250 will be a lot. And that's why we are doubling your discount. When you convert it, you don't convert it at 10%, you'll convert it at 20%. Okay, use of funds. You can see it here. Working capital inventory takes up most of it, but that's a fair term that includes many things, including contingency. But our real focus is on marketing. We own trademarks, not just in the United States, as you can see, but throughout the world. Here's how to reach me. And I'm available to talk with you right now or later.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. John, are you join us?
Absolutely. Hola, Jeff. How you doing?
Hola, John. In Panama still.
Oh yeah, I'm enjoying the life here. But one day I hope to go up to Colorado and where it's superior, as I'm told. Anyways, I'm going to do something a little bit different, right? And I'm going to ask you as an entrepreneur to tell me what your business is going to look like in 3 years. What you think it's going to be. Visualize that and say to me, this is what I think we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it.
I won't be involved anymore, and neither will most of my team, because we'll have sold it to a US domestic or a global consumer product company, most likely in wellness. They will purchase us primarily because of our intellectual property. So it'll be good for me. It'll be good for people around the world. I've been a serial entrepreneur.
Right.
And I've led a very Forrest Gump type of life. And I've been fortunate to learn from my mistakes being an entrepreneur, but I've been also a more successful entrepreneur in services and in goods. And I've been on the cutting edge, sometimes the bleeding edge, but sometimes you bleed cash, which is good, coming to you.
Been there, done that.
So, right. So I'm a ganjapreneur, like many of us today. And I'll always be involved in helping. That's just my language of love, if you will. So 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, won't be sitting on the beach. Maybe I'll go to some beaches. I'll be smiling at my wife, my family, my friends, and my investors.
Okay.
Jeff, curious about that timeline with your exit strategy. Is that enough time for that FDA clinical trial? And what does the aftermath look like with that? Trying to figure out what sets the business apart. Looks like the patents and the clinical trial. Wondering if you could talk about how long that's going to take and what your business is going to look like after you get that.
Excellent. We have the clinical trial already completed. It's all set up. All the equipment, all the materials, all the applications, all the approvals, all the products, all the samples. And right now, and we're going to start in about 10 days. I was shocked to learn two things. One, there are no known over-the-counter pain topical clinical trials, at least none that we can find. We are the first. And number two, while it's expensive, if you know what you're doing and you do it legally, it's not in the hundreds of millions. Let's just put it that way. And incidentally, any investor who invests is not repaying debt. I wish you were, but you're not. It's a clean going forward. So we expect the clinical trial to be done before Valentine's Day, so 2 months. We don't need approval from the FDA on this. We have to register the results. We will do that. And that will be done in the first quarter, as soon as possible. We want to succeed. My biggest question about the clinical trial will be whether, when we get our results, whether we should publish, like Coke versus Pepsi, the specific names of the best competitors, meaning the ones who are, they're in more locations than us, et cetera. But I probably don't want to pick a fight. So we'll have that documentation and we'll compare ourselves using other words. Is there anything I can incidentally show you, but not publicly, privately, confidentially, or anybody who requests, or most people who request, pardon me, precisely what's involved with our clinical trial and our USPTO and our patent, which is being done by 2 patent attorneys who are also both have PhDs in biosciences and chemistry. So they understand precisely why. This is not an exercise in marketing. It's an exercise in wealth building. Did I answer all your questions? If not, let me hear them again.
Yeah, I guess I've got another follow-up wondering about your sales expectations. You're going to go from 80,000 in the first year to 1.3 million using 250,000 in marketing and sales.
Mm-hmm.
Wondering how you're going to get there. And if you can explain also your working capital, the use of funds have 42% allocated towards working capital. How much of that is going to be for scaling up in order to get to that 1.3 million in sales? How are you going to get there?
Okay, 2 type of questions. So let me just start very briefly, but not in full, with the second one. Back on the slide, I can send you the slide or slides that show the use of funds. And about 20% is for marketing. And you're right, about 42% is for diverse working capital, and only 17% is for personnel, et cetera. Okay, well, what's happening? We have very many, boy, I like to be like Southwest Airlines and not brag and under promote. So with that in mind, with that, caveat investor, which is good for you, let me say the following. There's a brand, a website you can all go. It's called The Run, R-U-N, like running, therunexperience.com. They have the largest audience of registered runners of all kinds. And they have nearly 1 million views on YouTube. They're producing 6 videos for us. The first one's coming out next week. We are the exclusive sponsor for all CBD products. There's 2 other small corporate clients, sponsors, one called Nike and one called Bose. And so we're proud to be in that triad. And every CBD company pitched them, and nothing worked. The good thing about GoodFOR, and this is part of our marketing, is you don't have to wonder whether it works. I mean, whether you have arthritis or you just injured yourself or you have a chronic reaction to pain because of your pharmaceutical drugs, or you're hurt, you can't do your golf swing, you can't have sex, you can't do a lot of things. CBD won't do it by itself. These products, which are topical, do it within seconds, 5 to 10 seconds. And although some people might think, oh, it's camphor, menthol, oh, it's just like the rest. Nope. In fact, I challenge anybody to reverse engineer this. Go ahead. You'll find what's in it, and you will not be able to produce what's in it. What does that mean? It means that we know something you don't, and that's part of our intellectual property. This either works or it doesn't. So demonstrate, and it works in seconds, lasts for hours. In fact, my son is over here. He can show his hand, but he won't. I won't ask. And he hurts. He has to put it on. Sometimes 1 time a day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. Depends upon your level of pain. So we're going to use demos wherever possible. Of course, the pandemic limits it. So we found a way around that too, which is, I won't say put it in your mailbox, but you can tape it to a part of a residence, which is legal and prominent and safe. And we found that to be very successful. We believe that feeling is believing, not seeing is believing, feeling is believing. You'll know whether GoodFOR is good for you or not in seconds. And so a big thrust of our marketing, our advertising, our influencers called GoodFOR ambassadors. If you go to Instagram, you'll see hundreds of them. And it's spanning out. So a great amount of our marketing is word of mouth. In fact, over 42% of all of our revenue dollars comes from word of mouth. And our reorders are, I think, 21%. Our average order value, not counting tax, is coming close to $80. And we just raised our prices. So with the new prices, it would be about $94, $95. And we have a subscription plan. And our website can handle 50,000 people right now in the store ordering. And if we had a demand for our products, and they needed 100,000 of this and 250,000 of that, we could do it in 4 or 5 weeks. But we don't want to go into the big brand stores right away because we haven't proven ourselves the way they want, and therefore it'll be hellacious for us. And I won't put our investors or my team in any risk or undue jeopardy. So we're primarily digital marketing. That's how we'll do it. And we've not done wholesale much yet, but we have about 20, little over 20 affiliates now with well over 1 million regular viewers, fans, followers, you name it, all double opted in, et cetera, because we don't want to spam. We won't spam people. Although I have thought of dropping our packets out of helicopters, but I wouldn't want somebody to get hit in the face and that causes more pain. Or maybe I do, but I don't know. This is when I ask people. Here's something that's interesting marketing. Several months ago, before the plague, I played a lot of softball, a lot of basketball, very competitive with 20 and 30 somethings. And I would ask people, strangers too, do you have any physical pains? And most people would walk by or pay me no attention. But when I said it this way, excuse me, but do you have any friends or loved ones who are in any pain? Almost 75% people stopped. They're more empathetic. It's also part of what I call backdoor marketing, which is instead of saying, would you buy it for yourself? Do you know anybody else who could use the benefit? Not buy it, but benefit. And we find that it works very, very well that way. And the reason we have these grab and go packets is that a runner or a basketball player or a pickleball or golfer, tennis, or anybody, a mom or a dad, anybody going out puts it in their pocket or their headband or whatnot. Whereas this, so it's an airless pump. You don't want to put it in your pocket or your wallet. We also have several other products, but pain is our focus. I wondered, but I wonder if you got the answers you were looking for. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Josh. Brad, welcome. Thank you for being here today. Do you have any questions for Jeff?
I read your bio, Jeff, and I was wondering if you can describe to me how, or the audience, how you were able to, I saw that you actually kind of developed the dating industry.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's, I think it'd be interesting to learn more about exactly what you were able to achieve in there and actually, since you actually built a pretty big sales network, it looks like I read, maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, thank you, Brad. Anybody could see my resume on LinkedIn, Jeffrey Ullman. Don't mix me up with my second cousin, the other Jeffrey Ullman. He's a professor at Stanford, and he was the initial Google advisor during their startup. So I started a company called Great Expectations, and I built the biggest romantic singles dating brand in the world by far. There was not even a second or a third place. We began it in 1976, sold it in 1995 to a fellow YPO company, a NASDAQ public company that was in financial services. So why would a bank buy a dating service or a video dating service? It's because we created something that worked. Great Expectations. A lousy URL today, people would make spelling mistakes, you know. Internally, we just called it GE. Of course, we thought we were bigger than General Electric. It was a direct response organization. It was cutting edge, bleeding edge in many ways, because when you're talking about romance, especially in the 70s and 80s, when there was no online dating, there was tremendous stigma. People would not want to touch you with a 11-foot pole. They thought something was wrong with you, or you were gay or lesbian or were dangerous. So we had to overcome all that stigma through marketing. And we had a great time. We did it. We succeeded in many ways. We had more couples who dated, met, dated, and married than other company in the world by far. Our revenue in today's dollars in my last year in the mid 90s was about $155 million, which is very little to the two biggest online dating companies. But in our case, you were paying $2,000 or $3,000 for a membership. You walked into a physical office called the membership center. You watched videos there. To meet anybody, you had to come back to watch the videos. So if you lived out of town, a problem. So we had to deal with so many idiosyncrasies and overcome them. And we had just tremendous success. I've had also success with my wife with a company called Truology, which helped couples stay together. Now, how we built that, we built it slowly, word of mouth, then ads, and then funny radio ads, of which we won all kinds of Belding Awards, radio contests, like the Oscars. Then we did direct mail. And back in those days, in the mid 1980s, if you opened your mailbox and you pulled out a letter, you thought it was your name on it. Nope. We bought the inexpensive, we kind of zip code bombed, if you will, carrier route bomb. So we highly targeted. We didn't want to drop from a helicopter, like I said before. We wanted to find you. But finding single people wasn't easy then, but we figured it out. Just like we find out now who's in pain. Is it seniors? Is it blue collar workers? Is it moms and dads, grandparents? It's almost everybody, but you don't go crazy trying to reach them every which way. So the dating experience was fantastic in so many ways because I brought happiness to people. I was on just about every TV show you could think of multiple times. I think I was on 24 times on CNN as a domain expert. I was on Oprah a couple times, et cetera, et cetera. And Montel Williams, who's in the cannabis business, as you know, I was on his second show way back. I don't remember. And he came right up to me and he said, Mr. Ullman, Jeff, Mr. Ullman, aren't you taking advantage of people who are lonely? And I said, Mr. Williams, Montel, Mr. Williams, yes, we're taking advantage, just like nurses and doctors and hospitals and pharmaceutical companies take advantage of the sick or dying. And just like talk show hosts take advantage of the bored and the people who don't like to read. The audience went nuts. He went to commercial. I got asked back because interaction. So we tried to be emotional in all of our marketing. That's what it was with Great Expectations. That's what it is with GoodFOR. I want to show you something. I thought, entrepreneurs make mistakes. Nothing tried, nothing gained. And this was our strongest pain topical way back. You see the number 8, and it's all about a scale on a scale of 1 to 10. So 8's a lot. You're not quite certain what kind of pain he's in. Is it emotional, headache, worry, angst, stress, or is it physical? Well, no other product. If you go to the store where they sell food where they sell pharmaceuticals, where they sell over-the-counter topicals of any kind, you will not find a photo, a real photo of an adult. You go to the diaper section, you'll see little babies, but nothing. So I thought that emotional breakthrough was the way to connect. This is what it looks like now. It's a different container. It's clear. Because sometimes if you have creative or art, it can get in the way of sales. And it can get in the way of healthcare. The more people who buy our product, the better for them and for us and our investors. So we learn from mistakes. We don't just get knocked down and get up again. That's dumb, because you'll just get knocked down again and again. It's a terrible, insane loop. When you get up, you have to be in the process of thinking, what am I going to do differently? Because I don't want to get knocked down again. I don't want to lose dollars. I want to gain market share. So that's the essential theme behind us. And speaking of behind us, well, I don't know where I put it, but we have a big ad coming out called Tell Us Where It Hurts. Clean and simple. Sans serif, no frou-frou art, not photo special. We connect with what is on your mind. When you go to the market, some have a list, some should wander. We want them all. And if you put GoodFOR on a shelf next to about anything, like I double dare you, triple dare you, you'll immediately see it. It's clean, it's clear, it answers every possible question, and it's registered trademark. We own multiple of them in the United States and other countries. That allows us to make claims that other companies can't. Because there's so much.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you explain that a little bit further? Because I'm curious, like, as you're trying to get investors to get into a relationship with you, how can you put those investors give them peace of mind, knowing that there was 15 letters that the FDA sent out just last year? How can you give peace of mind to investors who are wondering about the claims you are making?
Well, first of all, this is a registered trademark, and we can put anything that we want in front of it. And we have two law firms, the Hoban Law Firm, which you understand for most business transactions, and an FDA cannabis natural product specialty company called Amin Talati. So nothing goes on anything anywhere without them, and also my insurance broker. So we have insurance because we don't want to be sued. We want to know where is the line, and we won't go past it, and we won't even go up to it, because sometimes there's a shadow, so to speak, a false assumption or misinterpretation. So we come close, and we have to leave it like radio for the mind. GoodFOR. That's an inherent sales claim, an inherent one, but we're not making the claim. But the way people interpret it is, oh, it's good for something. What's it good for? So the combination of the brand and the product name that combination is essential. I thought of think of the letters answer, ANSWER. Put a C in front of it. What's that word? Cancer. There is no such word. I happen to develop with some doctors a pain topical, or excuse me, a cancer killing oil. We're not commercializing it. GoodFOR has nothing to do with that. But I wouldn't want to take that and say it's good for cancer. Oh my goodness. I'd spend years in court and lots of dollars with the FDA, FTC, plaintiff attorneys, et cetera. So we identify the markets where people hurt the most. That's our specialty, hurt. Okay, physical pain, most obviously, stress, anxiety, et cetera. Later, we have that as well. All the formulations and all the betas and all that is ready. So here's what you can expect. You can expect that we will not violate the written law at all, federal or state. Can't say about other countries because we have not studied those in depth. We understand enough, but no. We take responsibility. Also, we have a 100% happiness guarantee. It's called the GoodFOR Happiness Guarantee. Now think about this. We're in cannabis companies who deal with the public, with consumers, or even B2B. they have exposures from their merchants. They don't want to lose their ability to take credit cards. So they give the money back if they have to. So we just took that and spun it differently. It's a happiness guarantee. We guarantee the same things. We say it differently. So if you want, we've had no requests, 0 requests, not on the phone, not in any method, not even a friend or a relative, nobody. Now that doesn't mean we have no complaints, but nobody said anything to us. And we did have a double your money back guarantee, but then some friends said, no, don't do that. It only invites problems. But that goes to show you how the primary investor, me or my family, the Ullman family and the CEO, where the buck does stop and passes on bucks to you, of course. I'm very careful with my reputation and my family's reputation and people. I don't want it to hurt anybody, ever. If you want more specifics on that, you can ask me now or ask me privately.
Thank you, Jeff. David, welcome. Do you have any questions for Jeff?
Yeah, thank you so much, Jeff. Great presentation.
Thank you.
As cannabis becomes a commodity, only brands will survive. And I particularly like the branding that you've done, specifically around what Daniela was talking about in regards to marketing strategies and the plan discussion on the previous piece, because it's the brand that builds the trust that will really kind of win in the end.
Yes.
So great job on that, and I like that, the clever play on words with the brand piece. So I guess my first question is what IP, what's protected under that IP? Is it the formula, or what's specifically protected?
Okay, let's start with the most legal first. We own multiple URLs. Okay, that's easy to document. We own, and pending as well. We own multiple trademarks. You saw evidence of 2 of them from the United States Patent and Trademark Office. And there's others in Canada and Latin America and other countries in the world. The formulas, we don't care. No. You see, there's 2 ways to spend your money, either make money or waste money in cannabis. That's to chase new technology, whether it's a grow light, or a new formulation for something, or a new box or something, or there's branding. We chose branding. We were fortunate. If I was a religious person, I would say blessed, but okay, karmically enhanced, that the topicals that my son Elijah and I first started, 4 or 5 years ago, has evolved to be so effective. And sometimes there's just dumb luck. I don't know what to call it. We're brilliant. Call us brilliant. We're pretty darn smart, but that's not the way to present ourselves. So I'd rather be a little bit humorous and noxious and truthful and say, okay, you chemical engineers, you competitors, wherever, reverse engineer it. Go ahead. Reverse engineer it. Produce some. Give it to your grandmother, to your son, to customers, to anybody. You still won't get this quality because of what we figured out by luck. Now that's what we're patenting, okay? And that will hold some value. I don't know how much. What am I gonna lie and say it's $1 billion or $1? I don't know. It may not even be worth the money we spend with the lawyers. You don't know. So, that will remain a trade secret. And incidentally, it's not just this. We figured out a method of formulation for all of our products, all of them. And here's something that is probably, I don't want to say it's a dirty little secret. I don't know if it's dirty at all, but it's clever, which is CBD does in any form, isolate, broad spectrum, full spectrum, wherever it's grown, legal, et cetera, with more terpenes, more flavonoids, more different ratios. There's billions of combinations that we all know and science hardly knows and won't know for decades. et cetera, because there's over 500 different molecules. We figured out that CBD is not the end all to this. It's just a great marketing. It's a wonderful front end. Look, I'm from LA, La La Land. I grew up literally half a mile away from MGM Studios. And as a tween, as a kid, we'd bike over there, hop over and look at all the Western sets and the Batman and the biblical thing. We didn't understand as kids, a facade. But CBD is a great facade, meaning it attracts, but it's going to lose its luster unless it proves its worth. And we've proved its worth because we've taken, I won't say the best quality, because what does best mean? We provide certificates of analysis, so those of you who can understand it, review it, you judge it. We think it's pretty darn good. But what we figured out was by adding FDA, here's key, FDA approved ingredients in unique measures, knowing about pharmacogenetics, which is how our bodies respond metabolically to chemicals, sugars, alcohol, CBD, THC, pharmaceuticals, et cetera. By knowing that, which is my background is also in pharmacogenetics, we've been able to figure out a methodology, an overall strategy. I've got to find out what pharmaceutical companies would call it, but I'll say it's a methodology so that whether it's good for pets, good for arthritis, good for sex, good for stopping sugar, or good for pain, it's the same methodology, it's just different ingredients. So and the other intellectual property is us. We're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Put a
Jeff.
value on that.
Thank you. Do you have another?
We also make friends and we share.
So one follow-up question is have you raised a family and friends and family round to date, and what was that number? Because I know that you mentioned that you funded it.
Yeah.
And who are the members on the cap table?
The good question. The friends and family is Cindy and Jeff. I don't like asking a family for money. It gets weird around the Seder table or, wherever, just weird. Plus I've done it before 25 years ago or whatnot. And it worked and it didn't work, two different companies. I don't like that. So yeah, I'm gonna hit up friends, my high net worth investors, whatever, take me, but I'm gonna do it in a funny way, allowing them not to never, I don't want them to unfriend me in every possible way. The primary owners are myself and my wife, and then our key team members, with the exception of one, because he's a PhD student in pharmacology. His university doesn't allow that type. So we disclose all of that, but it's not in the investor deck. But in total, it's under 10%, and we're leaving more for other employees or important vendors or consultants. We're very big on joint ventures, however that is. Oh, also, I'm a member of YPO, Young Presidents Organization, and it's about a $9 trillion a year organization, and there's about 400 of us in the YPO Cannabis Industry Wealth and Health Group, which I started in February 2015. What does this mean? It means that I can find out from people like Justin Gover, the CEO of GW Pharmaceuticals, which is the first FDA approved product. I can find out lots of things because we're talking to presidents, chairmen, and I'm going to probably right after the first week of January, list in the YPO deal network. But I want $250,000 this year because there's an immense amount that we can put it to good use for, and it'll show. It's like direct marketing right away. You'll know what to change. Don't put all your money on red or on black. Because you can get results. Incidentally, our feedback, our systems, automatic systems, are very well integrated. So we're very, we make the most with the data we have. I probably didn't answer all your questions. I'm sorry.
No, that's perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Jeff. Mauricio, do you have the last question for Jeff?
Yes, thank you, Jeff. It's a great presentation, and I'm happy to hear a person too enthusiastic about speaking about pain. I think pain is the most important word in the world. And I would like to ask you if it's not important that neurologists and the doctors could be more involved in this kind of product that could be the solution, not to take common and simple and the most biggest business that even doesn't work today. So I would like to ask you if you think that neurologists and
neurologists, the brain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, brain.
And neuropathic pain.
Yeah, because
pain all over the body by the nerves.
Yeah, because you have to remember that the pain, first of all, born in your brain and then goes anywhere.
Yes. Well, you asked a complex subject. I can tell you that neuropathy is almost as hard as phantom pain. In other words, an amputee might think that even though they lost their left leg and their foot and all that, they feel that their toe itches. It's a memory. That's one form. But neuropathic pain is very difficult. My wife had her whole left foot underneath had neuropathic pain from the pharmaceutical. It's a killer. It's trying to kill bad cells, but along the way, it kills a lot of good cells. So that's the toughest thing. But joints, arthritis, or all kinds of joints, and your knees, your elbows, this is excellent. All kinds of inflammation, sprains and strains and twists and things that cause you to go, ouch, or ow. We know how to deal with that. And incidentally, we do not use, and we highly, denounce lidocaine. Lidocaine interferes with the signaling from where you're hurt to your brain. So you get this false sense of, oh, I can now run on my ankle, my foot. No, because you're going to wound it even more. So we don't use any of that junk. You see that on shelves at stores. We don't want to use it. That hurts. You buy that and you hurt yourself more. We won't do that to you. It's cheap as hell for us to make it. Won't do it. We have a medical doctor on staff, Paul Bregman, MD, who's a cannabis patient himself. He allows me to say it. And he looks at everything from a clinical point of view. We have a chief science officer formula who graduated from med school on this. And he looks at everything coldly, statistically, analytically, based on the proof, not the clinical proof. That's Dr. Bregman. So those two guys, powerful team. Inspired by Elijah Ullman, my proud son, PhD student in pharmacology at Emory, who inspired all of our topicals. So anything more about neuropathy, you'd have to write me or call me and I'll do what I can.
And let me ask you just one last question. And that's in cancer, I think we suffer from pain anywhere. So in your clinical trials, you have any important statistical trial studies that can show us, because cancer is our best enemy, is the most biggest enemy?
The two world experts on cannabis and breast cancer are two Spaniards from Madrid, PhDs. They're not clinicians, they're academics. And those are the people I initially consulted back in early 2016, because there was nobody more published about breast cancer, men or women, any ages, and cannabis than those people. There is an excellent digital book, which I will send for free to everybody. It's written by a friend of mine. He just released his 6th edition. It's called Cannabis for the treatment of cancer. And it's very readable. It's a bit dense at parts, but if you, and there's about 25 different cancers in it. So you write to me, jeff@goodfor.us, not .com, .us, and I'll send it to you. It's a digital book. You're not getting it. You're getting it free because he's giving it to me free and he's giving it to everybody. There's not a lot. We're not doing any cancer clinical trial at all. No, we won't do that. There is a video, a 1-minute video on our website, goodfor.us, and in the About Us section or our story section. And that's mostly my wife talking about her cancer. But these are anecdotes, of one. Let's not extend it to others. But I can tell you this, that my wife Cindy's oncologist is a regular GoodFOR customer because she bikes, she's 50, I think. She and her kids, they're dirt bikers and mountain bikers. They run into trees and rocks in themselves. And she was very opposed to medical cannabis when we first came to her because it was Schedule 1. Well, still is, at least THC. Ridiculous. Cancer is a wonder. I mean, cannabis is a wonder drug, but we can't say it cures it or treats everything. That's crazy.
Just curious, Jeff, those two researchers you're referring to in Spain, is that from Complutense University?
Yes.
Cristina Sanchez, yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Who's
And
the
Dr. Velasco. Okay,
Sanchez.
got it. Yeah.
Great. Really.
Too bad for the FDA, and I'll leave out the FFDA.
The FDA, yeah.
All right, got it.
Thank you very much for the
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you, everyone. Lastly, Jeff, if some of our network member of some of our accredited investors that are looking at you right now want to reach you, what is the best way to reach you? What is the best way to contact GoodFOR? Please let us know.
Yeah, don't knock on my door without a mask. Email is good. Jeff, Jeff, @goodfor, GOODFOR.US, not .com. You can call me, but I'd prefer that you text me first. 720-443-1322. We have an 800 number too, but go direct. You know the guy.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Also, if you want samples, how can I don't see where I can share samples with people, but is there a place for me to text or?
Yeah, we can figure out some way
Okay.
to bring some of your samples to Colombia.
Yeah, I'll mail to them. You won't see it on our website without this unique URL. It's part of our target marketing.
Yes, I have one more question from one of our members, but I think it's a good question. So you're raising $250,000 now. What is your valuation, and how many shares or how much equity will be part of the convertible note?
The reason great question, whomever asked it. What I value the company at, what we value the company at is not what you as an investor will, and I don't want to argue with you, because what are we going to say the value of our intellectual property is worth if we sell nothing, or we sell a great deal, or we sell a great deal in Colombia, but not so much in Ecuador, or whatnot. So we rather kick that valuation down the road a bit, which is primarily why we're using debt, convertible debt, and not a lot of debt. Not a lot of debt. And you'll be able to convert it at a 20% discount when either you can do it, it's automatic. It happens automatically when we raise through a Series A $1 million and 1 penny. I don't know if you need the 1 penny, but it's $1 million. And then it automatically converts. You're the lucky ones, you get 20% discount. But after the 250, we're going to go after most likely 500. And then we'll be able to prove valuation, which by that time, which we believe will be middle to, let's just call it second quarter next year, will be more than $10 million.
Okay.
That's not a promise. That's our target. That's our target.
and the minimum is $25,000.
Yeah, I'd like it.
Great.
I'd like the minimum to be $250,000, but for now, such a deal.
Okay, thank you. Excellent, Jeff. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. We invite you to save the day next January 29th. We will be conducting our next event, Latino Investment Summit on January next year. Also, we would like to invite you all to our scientific symposium. This is a more educational space on January 26th. And well, thank you everyone for joining us today. If you want to reach any of these companies and you're interested in learning more about them and their opportunities, please feel free to reach us. We can contact, we can put you in contact with them directly. Usually we have simultaneous translation, and so if you have any questions regarding any pitching or any presentation, please let us know today. Just write us, or as your ability allows you to contact us. Thank you everyone, and thank you all the companies pitching, and see you next January 29th. We're going to close our event with a series of promo videos, so feel free to use the chat for a little while and network. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is The Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.